It's going to be interesting to see what happens here and how much Wichita Wolves have prepped on their own attack and whether or not, because Honor, they're a more defensive team. They're more, well, they've won more defensive sides compared to their attacks. So this is really going to be a big starting point as well, how, what this half ends at, really.
Yeah.
But let's see the bands come up first.
Yeah, and going off of that just for a second, Wichita Wolves, while they did have a couple clutches on their attacking side, they did win. They did still, I believe, go up 3-1 maybe before those clutches started coming out, maybe 2-1. So they were still looking good on their attacks. And starting out here, likely see a Ying ban coming out from Honor, as we can see, of course. Is OCG banned the Ying against Wichita Wolves last week. This is clearly a target ban amongst teams of, okay, don't want to deal with Wichita Wolves and the Ying, not something we want to do. Ying is also just a stronger operator on Oregon in general, but the Thatcher ban coming out soon after. Pretty standard in general, pretty standard for Wichita as well.
Same as always, no change. Always gonna be a Thatcher, but yeah, Ying on Oregon seems to be a more normal ban these days, especially against apparently maybe the background from Wichita Wolves. Maybe one of the players have played Ying in the past and they know how strong it can be. But next ban is gonna be Mirror as per usual because no one has to deal with those black mirrors, and I'm assuming last one's probably gonna be Valkyrie. I'm gonna guess, or Mai. Actually, yeah, well, last week's was Mai.
Yeah, last week there was a my ban. I'm interested to see Wichita Wolves ban out that mirror. They had a couple interesting mirror strats, specifically on basement. I believe it was putting a mirror window on the laundry single wall and looking over into
the single.
But either way, it does show at the very least that there is some versatility there. As a Valkyrie ban comes out the next, it's Valkyrie. We know why she's powerful. She's banned on most maps. Not at all surprising by Honor, but it does show at least a little bit of versatility from Wichita Wolves that, hey, we used this mirror last week. It wasn't, it wasn't the main part of the show. But it was still an integral part to some of their strats, so it does show that there is some versatility there, and likely that they did do their homework. And will that homework come into play against Honor? That is the question. Not Cookies. Benny, you and I have talked ad nauseum about how Honor, their attacks, a lot of the times they don't vary them up all that much, whether it be entering into the building, going into the mid to late round. If Wichita Wolves have done their prep, they should find plenty of opportunities to counter them.
Well, let's see what happens, though, because we're going to laundry and supply for our first defense from Honor. And yeah, I think the big half is like we've seen Honor in this season in general has been their defensive halves have been where they've come alive and they've showed us that they can defend extremely well. So we'll see how, because Oregon, defensive side has been the name of the game when it comes to Oregon. So really how Honor ends this half is a big thing. We'll see how they do here on this first defense. Bring a lot of that utility, bring a lot of those shields with Mai and the Jaeger. We're still sticking to that same kind of utility game where you're trying to waste as much time as possible. I'm assuming Honor are going to stick to the chest. They're not going to roam as much with this lineup.
I imagine not, especially Wichita Wolves. I wouldn't say focus so much on the early game, but there's constant discussion about how Wichita Wolves use Abernai, whether the way they use him is good or bad, but they do focus a lot of the time on using him to sort of set a trap for the defense, where he pushes on in and maybe he gets killed, but Wichita Wolves, they get 1 or 2 kills to trade off of him, directly caused by Abernai's death. That is usually how they like to play him. For Honor, they don't really want to play into that. Playing into that, you could give Wichita Wolves, if, Melted or Call Out or Forced, what have you, is entering behind him. If he's feeling himself, that's only 1 or 2 bodies that are gone. If you just play our utility close to the side, that should help out. But Wichita Wolves at the same time, they're bringing a Flores, an operator who can counter the likes of that Goyo shield. And sure, there's no Thatcher in play, but there's still plenty of burn on the side of Wichita to deal with the Omais, the Jaegers, and Arunis.
At least since they don't have the mirror, they supplemented one of those goals just to face that single wall towards pillar. And it makes it look like they understand that that's usually the play these days when it comes to pushing, especially without the Ying, because the Ying, especially with Ying being banned, it's difficult to push that freezer, that main stair side. So I would think at this point, Honor understands that they're going to push for that play into, well, we think pillar and blue, but at this point they're pushing for a freezer main stair take. At least the moment that maybe probing, trying to find kills for Wichita Wolves, see if they can find anybody hanging around any kind of aggression from Honor. But so far, nobody's really there. It's just kind of quiet for the moment as they figure things out, open up walls, and they clear the first floor.
No resistance by Honor just yet. Playing into that close to the chest type of defensive style that Benny and I were anticipating. Not wanting to get too aggressive just yet. Interesting thing to note, there is a Maverick on the board. He's not gone unbanned, but Wichita, since there's really no hard breach now on the side of Honor Esports, no need to bring him. You still have the nades on the hands of the Yana, and you can just use the Hibana to open up the hatches. Nothing really lost to you. And since you have that burn, while it is taking a little bit, minute 30 now before we've seen anybody really make any major entrance into the areas around the bomb site, you have plenty to deal with. These flash grenades soaring out. A Yana clone in the hands of Abernai to gain intel's found that nobody is playing all that close to freezer anymore. There are players playing directly inside of long haul and pillar as well, as I'm sure they've likely anticipated. But we're now minute 45 in. The attackers from Wichita Wolves are setting up in their positions, and well, they have to execute at some point. It's likely going to be momentary.
This Flores Jones looking to try and drive out players and destroy these shields, you said before, and I don't know how many shields have really been destroyed from callout, but so far it seems like Wichita Wolves are still probing and looking for an exploit to go through. They've checked Freezer, they know the Freezer's clear, but they still look they don't want to push for that, so they're going to push and rotate towards this E-box and towards this blue push and this big pillar push, but Honor have the shielded ready for it. Surf's actually playing pretty aggressive by himself on this pillar side. He could get figured out. That blue push is going to momentarily stop by Oreo, who's now his shield's been destroyed, and so far it just looks like the push should come soon, though, in the last 30 seconds.
Finally, a kill comes out. 2 kills, in fact. Surf looking over to the big tower stairs, isn't watching Forrest directly in his face, but 2 kills gained by the Wolves, 2 kills answered by Honor. A 3-3 now, and time is certainly more so on the defense's side, but the man count is certainly not. Callout's made his way up elbow. No pocket reinforcement means that hole is open. You have to hold it more aggressively. Forrest, he continues to get aggressive, blows up Pox. Oreo is the last one alive. 1 toxic canister will seal out the entry into the site, but with 3 players alive, they all push on through. No smoke canister, at least to them. Wichita Wolves pick up the first round. A bit of a slow burn. They explode towards the end.
Yeah, big thing is the fact that started that game was getting the first pick, because you had Surf by himself playing inside a pillar by that entry from elbow. He was playing by himself, had cover for 1 player inside of sight, but of course that player gets killed out, so at that point Surf's by himself. 1 drops E-box, 1's into pillar, sees this kill right here where Forrest just finds him by himself. Another player gets blown out trying to hold pillar from the hallway, and so far just the kills going in the favor of Wichita Wolves, getting that control they need. And really, it wasn't, they didn't even go for plan at that point, because they got enough kills taking control of those areas, whether it be pillar, whether it be elbow, whether it be just walking from, back tower stairs. So good work on Wichita Wolves. And now Honor, they try one more time for his launch supply. Really, they come out of kills, but how much can you really fix in that case if it's going to happen the same way?
That is the question. How much can you really fix? There's not too many adjustments in their lineup overall. They're still keeping many of the same usual suspects, if not all of the usual suspects. So Wichita Wolves bringing the same lineup, they'll be able to meet those same counters. But since Wichita did take a lot of time, and as you brought up, it was incumbent on, if you're Wichita Wolves trying to win, incumbent on you finding that first or second pick. And thankfully, the E-box drop works. Nobody's actually watching it, and before that, Abernai manages to get a kill all the way through that single panel on Big Tower Stairs. If Honor, it's a bit hard when there's 5 players on the side, I will acknowledge that, but if they're just maybe playing a little bit more reserved, not giving themselves up to those same angles, playing a little bit more passively, even if it's just for 10 more seconds, if you don't give up that same opportunity in the final 30 seconds for Wichita to find that opening pick, things may go a little bit differently. You certainly have the utility to play out those final 30 seconds or so. Smoke canisters, 2 C4s. It looks good if that's your strategy.
Yeah, there are a lot of 1s in that round that, could have easily changed the round. Had the guy in elbow, guy playing inside. Surf, maybe Surf wasn't really a 1v1 because he was kind of at that point by himself inside the hallway. He was kind of screwed at that point. But that one, the single wall into sight, that's kind of a 1v1 that you kind of unfortunately end, and never mind, Furter's dead.
All right. Well, believe Furta might have been reinforcing a little bit late, caught rotating back. I'm gonna assume he wasn't just sprinting directly head on towards the entries from Wichita. Likely just caught out in a bad position, but while he has placed both of his utility, it is one of your 2 C4s that you have now lost. And if you are trying to play a bit more passively when it comes to the final minute, not only losing a body is that going to hurt you, but losing a C4 as well, that's going to be extremely difficult. But Honor do still have time. Wichita Wolves, they're still gaining elements of their push, figuring out exactly what they want to do, so they have time to adapt. But it already didn't go well for them with 5 men on the board. Having 1 less body is certainly not going to do them any favors.
So the question is Wichita Wolves going to stick to the same game plan as last time, making sure they make this push from Big Tower Stairs, but they are probing Freezer. They're looking around. They've used that gem replicator well to figure out the information of what's happening here in Freezer, and what player is trying to stop them from a Freezer take is the mute of Pox. He's trying to play that shield in the corner in the hallway, trying to deny anybody walking down the stairs. It seems Wichita Wolves are focused here, which Forrest has an angle upstairs, a back tower, to see if any flank comes out, but for the most part, it seems Wichita Wolves are rotating for a different take. Pox goes down there, so there goes that player trying to hold on to Freezer. Forrest from behind gets that good pick, makes players from Honor fall back and make other plays. Melted gets surfed, so now it's dying. It's Axe, one of his own, and Abernai. But Axe has to look many ways. Back tower stairs, main stairs, Freezer. There's too many angles.
And now an angle that Forrest couldn't even see. So this time Honor managing to find a leg up over Forrest. He's finished off, but it doesn't really matter. Jay's able to get the bomb down despite being killed. So A powerful position for Wichita, but much less powerful than they initially thought. A 2v2, though two members of Honor are both on low HP. Oreo and Axe both hovering around that 50 mark. And Wichita, not only is the time on their side, but the positioning as well. Melton's able to retreat back into Freezer. Oreo can't land the shots. His health even moving further down. Now, Wichita Wolves even have intel on the player's position. Everything going their way. A hatch open, a crossfire. That's going to be difficult for even the best of players to win. And right now, Honor, going up against Wichita, it appears the Wolves might be a little bit better when it comes to their attacks than it comes to Honor's defenses.
I would say big props to Wolves. They're able to create almost kind of disorient Honor. Get those first picks. Yeah, getting further in the beginning too definitely left Honor in a man disadvantage. They had to make sure that players watching different angles, they didn't have enough when it came to that push. They had people in Freezer, people on back stairs. They had nobody go elbow, but still having forced those back stairs, getting that second kill as well, just causes Honor to have to really, getting that first kick, he gets getting the second pick. He's playing on backstage. You have to now look towards there while the other players from Wichita Wolves are pushing the main stairs in the Freezer. So at that point, Honor a man down disadvantage. They did finally kill Forrest, but at that point, while all those happening, they got the plant down. They get that post plant they want to, and cause Honor to have to, figure things out, make it a 2v2. But again, like I said before, they had the positioning at that point. They knew they had the post plant figured out.
Now 2 rounds lost. Honor will opt to move up to dorms. As once you lose a site twice in a row, it's pretty hard to make the argument they should go to it a third time, especially with how well Wichita Wolves seem to play it. And that is, I will say, I brought this up a little bit earlier, but during that OCG game, which, in all fairness, was sloppy on both sides at times, Wichita Wolves did look actually pretty strong on their attacks for a good portion of their attacking half. So seeing them start out this well, it's not all that surprising given their very recent track record. Of course, they did start to lose it a little bit in the second half. It came down to some clutches, but Honor have struggled with those mid-game, mid-round adaptations, and Wichita Wolves are able to exploit that and continue applying this pressure and coming at it in different ways. Could go in their favor. We have also seen call-out switch to the blitz, likely one way that they've anticipated that could throw Honor for a loop. You don't see a blitz all that often. He brings with him some aggression that you don't have to worry about too much. It's almost inherent in his kit. Could be one of the most impactful operators, or could also make for a good highlight if it doesn't work out.
Hey, we'll see. I guess that is definitely something. Yeah, definitely support. You don't see blitz very often. So definitely interested to see what his application is going to be in Wichita Wolves. What are they aiming for by bringing the blitz? Sneaky drone sitting on top of that window still, so they get some intel on either playing trophy. They're droning out, making sure who's playing games, who's playing in what angles, and what is the play. But of course, it seems to be that that open up gains wall, open up that attic wall, and go for that usual push as you see here in Oregon. It comes top floor. This is a dorm's defense from Honor, and of course is going to walk in. They're going to push into back tower stairs. They've done their droning and made sure nobody's playing here, because Honor, again, they're playing to the chest, which I'm not sure if is working so far in these last 2 rounds when it came to that basement defenses. Maybe different here on top floor, but so far Wichita Wolves have already can take control of trophy, take control of big tower, opening up that wall. Can they take control of attic? That's the next step really here for Wichita Wolves, but it's actually not that many steps left really.
We have seen in the past, for example, in the Orglis game, when players would present problems in front of Wichita, they could sometimes get overwhelmed, struggle to clear them, and their plan that they had so meticulously created in round is thrown into disarray when you have, for example, young Alec just sitting inside a 90, swinging every player that moves. So while you do have the trade-off of, hey, you're not giving yourselves up to early picks if you're not off the site, at the same time, you are allowing Wichita to go with their plan. And when you're just sitting in these positions, waiting for Wichita to come to you, and they're allowed to gain their positioning, it seems to go their way. Surf sure is Wamai. He's already put out most of his magnets, but that's one more player on the site that's fallen, and no opportunity for a trade from Honor. That's gonna be some utility off board, and somebody playing games, and now somebody from Honor has to take his place because he's dead. Orio's still playing aggressively in security, was holding the big tower window from below. Does hear some movement near him. The Yana of Abinai will walk away, and really, if they're going for this attic and this gains push, they actually don't even need to care about Oreo. Just make sure they can hold the flanks and deny him. Abinai will back off over to the window of kids, and Khaled's waiting for his chance. This blitz play could be the easy way of pushing through attic and gaining control they need. Push that shield out, make sure the players leave, and Force is there to ready to get that kill. At this point, they're pushing in the kids. They have control. Melda's been killed by that shotgun. One gains his pox to kill. Abinai refrags though. Force with another, and now it's a 3v1. Or the last person alive downstairs is by himself. And has to return to site with no C4 in his hand either. So it's at this point, he's getting shot from above. There's not much he can do in this situation with 5 seconds left to go. He's going to run up the stairs in white. It's being held by 2 players, most likely. 1 player to the right in games, 1 player to the left. It's pretty much difficult for him to play to the left. Abinai will finish him off. Wichita Wolves will take another round. Now, 3 rounds lost in a row for Honor, and for Wichita, their plan for the blitz finally coalesced and came to fruition when we saw the final 50 seconds. We saw what Call was going for. Okay, they opened up that bedroom wall. They've cleared out Attic, or at least pushed the defender back into pit. They're gonna have him send on into Attic. Players playing behind him, able to either, if he dies, get his trade or work off his aggression. And it was free site control, it seemed, at times for Wichita. They met some resistance. Some players fell on the entry, but it was overall as successful as you could hope. Maybe not the dream scenario, but still pretty good. And the big playmaker there was potentially Oreo. He wasn't fully droned out down below. It was clear based off the way they were playing that they didn't fully know his position. Maybe they knew someone was over there, but wasn't too sure. He got 1 kill. He was one of the... in terms of kills, he was one of the only people on Honor that got that kill, but his position didn't really matter that much because, 1, his C4 was missed, and 2, nobody from Wichita was pushing over there. It was mainly an attic push with a couple elements over on master bedroom, so sure he's the last alive, sure he hasn't been droned, but nobody from Wichita is playing over there. And without a C4, how much impact does he have playing inside there till the end of the round?
Yeah, I think there's one other player on Honor who was in games got a pick as well, but at that point, they had full control kids. There was no problem at that point for Wichita Wolves, really, because those kills were, you know, kind of irrelevant to the control they had at that point to get that plant down. So yeah, I kind of give it, like, it seems like getting those first picks for Wichita Wolves just allows for, you know, it just pushes Honor to have to move players around. When Oreo dies first like that, playing inside of games, another player from Honor has to now play in kids, where that player could have been in, if we go from kids to go into games now, where that player could have been in kids to help out that situation. And really, it just seems like these first picks are the big issue right now for Honor. I know they don't want to play, you know, they don't want to play too aggressive and get killed out, but in the end, like you said before, the round before, at the start of last round, they're just letting Wichita Wolves do what they want, take it to the control they need, and they're letting them set themselves up for executing a victory.
3 rounds. We've seen 2 sites so far. In round number 4, we'll see the 3rd site come out from Honor. It is that meeting room kitchen, so no dining today. That site, I feel like there was approximately 2 seconds where people tried going to that site. You know, you had that showers hold, and then now there's just not at all anymore.
You saw Mikey run across the map and get that kill at the person's small tower. You know, you wouldn't want to play that site.
That is true. I would not want to play that site if I had to do that.
if you hold control of big window and how long they held small tower on that game, that's
also we do have a mute soundbar, by the way, so
yeah, I think it started last round when I started casting at the end of that last round. Yeah.
Oh, so you caused it?
Oh, apparently, yeah. No, it's mine.
That's just shameful.
My voice caused all the sound to go away. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, we'll try not to blame you too hard for it. It does appear, here's what I will say. So in terms of Oreo's positioning, it does appear like they're set up to potentially counter a big window take. You have that player in security down below who's watching those holes. Do have some players from Wichita who were eyeing that position for a moment, but it looks like they're going for their same clear over from Trophy onward, as well as Attic. Maybe we'll see Forest pressure it. That was the one player I saw over there towards the beginning of the round, but it doesn't appear as the mute soundbite goes away, while our auditory senses have changed. We can hear more now. It doesn't appear that Wichita's take has changed all that much.
Seems to be the same. Question is, can they be as successful? But there aren't as many members here to fight them back. There's 1 in games, or 1 in Attic, and 1 in kids. Pre-fire from Abonai, he doesn't get the kill, but can he get the refrag? Yes, he can. So next player's in kids. Melt is just flying the LMG off on Surf, and Surf's now in a position where you gotta retreat or take this fight. Axe get a kill of his own in a call out, so at least there's somebody from Honor's trying to help out this player by themselves inside of kids of Surf, who's just, you know, C4 out, trying to stay alive for as long as possible. Can they get to the hash and leave? But they walk right in, and Jay finishes him off. At that point, 3v3 with a minute and 17 left.
Well, it was not a Dorm's hold by Honor. Well, it was technically a Dorm's hold. They weren't defending the site, but they were heavily extending into that area, and they did manage to take down 2 players on the entry. So once Honor actually contests some control off the site against Wichita, sure, they lost 2 bodies, but they still found some moderate success. They've taken down Abonai and Callout, 2 big members of the, or 2 big holders of the utility on the side of Wichita. And while they have lost both Ferda and Surf, it does lessen the load a little bit for Honor. They don't have to deal with as much utility when it comes to the side play, or as many bodies when it comes to the side play either. No nades from Abonai from below. Pox will swing out, but he'll give his life away to 4th. Maybe a bit too aggressive coming out from the mute. Potentially still had a C4 in his pocket. I'm not too sure. But now you put the rest of Honor in a man disadvantage. But All of Wichita are on low HP. That is one factor still going their way. With Oreo using his last smoke, he'll choke 2 more or 10 more seconds out. He'll even find one as Axe picks up another. It's just Melted left in a 1v2. He's clutched on Oregon before, but not this go around. Honor pick up their first round. And while it seemed a little bit risky as it got later on, Pox going for that swing, with how many members of Wichita were on low HP, it's a lot easier for Honor to clean up than it might otherwise have been.
Yeah, I think we really acute that to the fact that they wasted time. They got the kills, at least even out the man count. Sure, there was that aggression from the mute player to make that, a man disadvantage. But the problem was too is if you looked at before, they only had 4 drones left in the hands of Wichita Wolves. There was no intel really available in those dying seconds of Wichita Wolves. So they had to make that push into sight, and they had no clue where Axe was. They had no clue where Oreo was. So those smokes were perfect. Oreo was in perfect position in security to deny the hatch drop, and Axe was in a great position to get his cross. So really great play in those last 2 players' Honor, and unfortunately Wichita Wolves, that roam clear was successful in a sense, but they were, low on time, low on utility to make that happen. So great work in Honor to get that first defense win. We go back upstairs in front of the defense try, and really maybe they do need aggressive and start taking fights, or at least not allowing for Wichita Wolves to create these executes every single time.
And you know what's funny, Benny?
What?
You know which team out of these 2 has made one of the first adjustments in their lineup when it came to a site?
Oh, what was it? Is it Honor? Really?
No, it was not. It's Wichita.
Oh, my bad.
Well, technically, they are making a little bit of adjustments. So they have switched Surf from the Wamai to the Smoke, so it is a little bit of adjustment, but they have been running Smoke. They have been running Smoke in their lineups overall. So I guess Honor have made an adjustment when it comes to their Dorms defense. But Wichita, they've switched to the Maverick, which should, in theory, expedite a lot of their takes. They were only using J before on that hard breaching. So if you want to open both attic and a master bedroom, you got an exothermic 1, rotate all the way over. It's just such a massive hassle. But if you switch out the floors for a Maverick, you can hard breach a little bit quicker. Now, that does mean you lose those Rotero drones, which does suck. But you also have 6 nades on the side of Wichita. And 2 Zofia lifelines. And only a Jaeger to worry about on Honor.
Really.
Nah, I mean, Rotero drone's always nice, but it's with how much utility that Wichita are bringing and not that much projectile denial in the hands of Honor. I mean, no Aruni, no Amai on this setup. It's not gonna, not really going to
just like it made more sense for the base one front. In this site, like they had the blitz last time. They even needed to short the shield even.
True. Oh, that's true. Call up play blitz. I forgot.
Yeah, he ran out his blitz. The shield wasn't a matter because they had to try and shoot the blitz while getting flashed and forces behind them and just shoots the Goyo in the face. So it's and it's just, you said they have 6 grenades. Like they don't need any work. They don't need a Rotero at that point. Yeah. So again, the big thing last time we had the same positioning from Honor, and last time was Oreo all alone by himself at that point because they had taken the control they needed. There was no real interference by Honor, no aggression. So Wichita Wolves were able to create this execute, take control of attic, take control, get that first pick on the player inside of the game. So this time, no one dies in that grenade. They get open that first hit, and the Electro Claw. Try to time Electro Claw to destroy that excellent charge, but unfortunately, it's too late. Someone just from Honor try and, waste utility and waste more time, but unfortunately, will not work out. There goes the other one, and call it with the first kill onto Axe, all the way inside of Kids.
Wow.
Maybe peeking through the window, but it's horrible to lose the first player, and now it's someone else like Surface to go back and take his place.
He just domed Axe mid-vault out way onto highway. That was brutal right there. So you lose that C4, but as you said, K-tricking the thermite charge is probably one of the harder things to do. You have to have the most miraculous timing for it to work out because of how quick that exothermic opens up and how slow that Electroclaw is to deploy. Good try from Pox, but it won't mean that much in the end. And because you had call-out switch to that Maverick, you can now open up those 2 walls, that attic and bedroom, much quicker and start forming your take. But now you've lost Abunai. That is one set of your nades, but there's already been so much done by Wichita to destroy this utility on the site. Not everything is destroyed, but still quite a lot. It's not going to hurt them too much, especially moving into the final 45. You do have Forrest rotating over to Big Window as Callout takes down Furta. I believe the player playing over next to it. Forrest oh no, the player sitting next to Big Window is not taken down. In fact, he's the one to take down Jay on the entry, but Melta's there for the trade, just as Oreo is for his team. Now a 2v2, the 2 SCS ops on Honor, able to hold down the fort, but now it's left up to Surf, who switched to that smoke. He swings out, finds Callout on the entry. That's not diffuser dropped, and there is still time on the Wolves side. Melton's able to swing her. He sees Surf swing, able to react in time, take his head off. A much closer round for Honor, but still a win for Wichita in the end.
I would say Honor had a better time there. Especially because they open up the games well. They go for the attic control like usual, but there was a rotate from side of Wichita. You had Forrest on that big window. Forrest jumps in, Oreo gets that kill, but also Callout jumps that way as well. So I would say definitely Wichita Wolves were running around and Honor had all of those angles covered, so they were able to get those kills. But in the end, like the big part was them coming from trophy, coming from games, coming from attic. Those kills were the biggest part, and in the end, it was 1v1. Not sure if Surf was, swinging off of intel. What was the point there? But unfortunately, it just doesn't even come down to a plant. Even he just wins that fight. So I'm not totally sure what was going on there, but still great work from both teams. And at least Honor are starting to figure things out and try different things and try to react. But it may be too late. We're already down to the last round and a half.
Yeah, 4-1 attack for Wichita Wolves on Oregon. Even a team that seemed to have strong Oregon attacks last week, still a pretty dramatic scoreline that you wouldn't anticipate. And we are seeing some adjustments from Honor. Surf is rotated to the castle, and Ferda's moved to the Vigil. So they are going for not just an extension, not just a roam. You sit somebody inside a meeting and kitchen and they play off each other. You're going to have utility dedicated to them and some intel denied by Ferda. So overall, Wichita Wolves' job in terms of forming their plan in the beginning to enter the middle of the round is going to be a lot more difficult with this utility and with the presence of the Vigil if Ferda is able to play him properly. But now we're seeing the blitz once again. Moving down to basement, not just attic. We saw how aggressive Callout got and how Wichita Wolves opted to use them. For all we know, Benny, they could try to take this one pretty quickly.
This could be a quick round.
Oh,
well, let's see what happens.
Look at this.
This could be a very quick round. If they understand, they've done their homework they've done their droning from Wichita Wolves side, they can understand that there's 2 members off site, but there's only 3 people on site. But they have to do it quick though, because once Honor realized that, this could easily be a different round. But here he goes, the blitz comes in, down goes Oreo. Calling gets the first kill on the blitz. Elbow control is in the hands of Wichita Wolves, and now they're destroying this utility and pillar, destroying this utility over by side of big stairs. So this should allow for the rest of Wichita Wolves to come down those big tower stairs. They control pillar. As long as they hold their flanks off, they can make this happen, but they are starting to slow down. And members now from Honor need to react and start to play in.
This is actually a smart play by Wichita. A rush, sure you could be moving 5 members onto the site, but there's still plenty of on-site presence from Honor to make a dent in your man count if you try to rush in. But they use Callout on the blitz just to charge in, get a pick, and then run back out. They're not too concerned about pushing in after that. They know that 1, there's plenty of players on the site, and 2, there's still players roaming up top. So once you get that pick, you deny elbow control for the defense. You don't need to press your luck. You can just move on out and do what they're doing right now. That shows the discipline of Wichita that I think a lot of teams in CL lack sometimes, and it shows just, again, how disciplined they are as a team. Of course, there's still 1:30. They do have pillars control. There's a little bit more they have to do in order to make an execute come out, but with how quickly they were able to acquire that control and push all the defenders back to site, Wichita Wolves, they might find themselves with an early plant or execute on the line.
Well, let's see if they can open the single wall, because the single wall here is kind of the big point, because his elbow control is hard to really fight back on. One player goes down inside Wichita Wolves, Melted needs to take out Pox. Axe will finish off Abanai, Melted of one of his own to refrag back. And so far, the fights are not going in the way of Honor whatsoever. Surf's got to get aggressive here. He comes back in. The person inside of Ferda, inside of Frieza, loses his life. Blitz runs right in, and this is it. This is the end right here for the half. It's a 5-1 half Wichita Wolves.
That was just brutal for Ferda at the end there. Whoever that was. I believe that was Surf, actually. But
Yeah, that was Surf. Yeah, that was Surf.
Either way, Surf, Ferda, neither of them would be happy in that position at the end of the round. Just a blitz charging at you. Then all of a sudden, oh, I can't see anymore. So 5-1 half for Wichita Wolves. Very, very strong on those attacks. But then again, Benny, it was because, or maybe because, that Honor weren't really contesting them all that much. But even when Honor would extend off the site, Wichita Wolves always seemed to have an answer that Honor just either weren't able to adapt around or weren't expecting. And for Wichita, it just goes to show their prowess as a team on these Oregon attacks specifically. And now they get to move to the defense. While these were the sides, or this was the side, I should say, that Wichita struggled a little bit more on their OCG game, the strats, while nothing crazy or spectacular, were not bad inherently. Honor do have a VOD on these strats as well, so if they've done their prep, you might see it finally come to fruition and Honor claw a couple rounds back.
Well, I hope so. I hope this isn't too much of a stomp, and Honor can show us they've done their homework and they can get some rounds back and make this at least, somewhat of a game here. Because, yeah, 5-1, it's just, we always talk about this 5-1 halves and how difficult it is to come back from these kind of halves when it comes to the team that has only 1 round in 6. So let's see what Honor does here. The Wichita Wolves looking to try at least make some kind of roam out of this, whether it be an actual roam or a ghost roam, just, waste utility and waste time. Hard to say. They are setting up the reinforcements in kitchen, setting up those new jammers and trying to deny intel. They haven't reinforced the hatch in E-box, so that kind of indicates maybe they actually are flow roaming, expecting to take fights. Because, yeah, we've seen before, Honor on their attacks have sometimes been a bit slow, sometimes been at least progressive at times. So we'll see if they can at least tackle this roam, or if they're going to try and evade it like we saw Wichita Wolves do on that last round.
Well, for Wichita Wolves, while I believe this is the same kind of roam on basement they did last week. They have changed it up a little bit. Well, first off, Forrest is dead in the first 30 seconds. That didn't really happen a lot last week in their games. But in terms of role adjustments, Melted, I believe he was on the mute or the smoke last week. Now he's on the Aruni playing inside of dining. Abonai's still on Jaeger, so nothing new there. But so some operators in some positioning has been switched up from Wichita, but it's still the same lineup, just different operators and different players playing in those same positions. And actually, as you can tell, there's no one on the site. Not a single damn person from Wichita is on the site. And
So
Honor just playing into the roam.
If Honor
Just
had
playing
known
into
this,
it.
they could have rushed it, but of course it's too late now at this point because Wichita Wolves have now returned to site.
Yeah. Intel,
So,
folks.
yeah,
Support.
Intel is the big name in the game here. So the drones are probably all. There's only how many drones left? There's 4 drones left, and we're only a minute and 15 in. So that kind of
I didn't even
tells
realize
the
that.
story.
Wow.
That kind of tells the story of what happened. Intel game was the name of this round for Wichita Wolves. They have denied most of the intel from the side of Honor, causing Honor to now have to clear every single floor. And it's actually true. Clearing this top floor is important because there's still one player off the site.
Located by attackers.
Out. There it is.
You okay?
I'm dying again.
Y'all good, Benny?
I'm dying again.
I,
Oh my god.
man, 1 year closer to 30, and he's already starting to lose it.
Hey,
Well-
hey, I'm not dead yet.
That's true. Not dead yet. Minute left, or specifically a minute, 5 seconds left if you want to split hairs about it. But for Honor, 5 seconds I don't think will matter a whole lot much when it comes to their take overall. You've lost Forest, or Wichita has lost Forest, but honestly that might just be a tub to the whale at this point. Doesn't seem like that pick was really given much to Honor. It didn't really bother Wichita that much. Didn't give that much map control to Honor. They just killed Forrest, who's a really good player. 7-4 so far. But there's still so much utility for Wichita Wolves
Oh my
left on the
God.
site. You have these smoke
Attackers
canisters
located
and
a
call
bomb.
out on a flank. He's
attackers'
retaken up
bomb
top.
diffuser
Jay
has been
manages to
dropped.
find a kill on the site.
Attackers
But
recovered
call
the
out
bomb
can just
diffuser.
sit inside of security and deny this freezer push from either the stairs or whatever he wants as long as he wants. But mid-reload animation, Ferda's able to take him down. Oreo finds one as well. The round has now officially swung in the favor of Honor. But not just yet. Now that Melton's taken down Ferda for just a
15 seconds
single
to go.
solitary couple seconds, it looked good for Honor, and now
10
it's
seconds
back
to go.
to being a round that they have to take from Wichita Wolves. Melted and Abonai both on the
seconds
side, playing directly next to each other. No intel for Surf, no control of the diffuser, and match point in the hands of Wichita.
Operators,
And
you
it's
are out of
5
time.
rounds that Honor need to climb if they want to try to bring them to overtime.
So that round, we come to talk about the Intel game. The name of the game before my voice just died and I started coughing up a hair. But
That's okay.
before that, it was
Don't
name of
get
the
too
game was Intel, causing Honor to have to clear the entire first floor at least. They clear the entire floor. They waste a lot of time and utility doing so. They get that first pick, but the time in the utility was the big thing. They start pushing on the site. Carlo could have been a major player in that game. He was left alone in dorms for the entire round until the end of it whenever he tried to flank, and he loses that fight to Furter, unfortunately.
There was so little pressure on him, I actually forgot he was up there.
Yeah, dude, he's out of the entire time and nobody cleared him. So he could have had a major play, but unfortunately he walks into freezer stairs and gets slammed by Ferda.
Attackers
Happens
need to
sometimes.
locate and
Unfortunate.
defuse
But
bombs.
what matters is the game of fights on site at that point were still even though they were down a man on the side of Wichita Wolves. Down 2 people actually, because Call It wasn't even on site. They were still able to take fights and keep their main count even when it came to the end of the round. And in the end, both last players, we Surf and I believe it was Oreo, were split. Well, actually, maybe Ferda and somebody else were just split at that point. I think it was First and Ferda, whatever. They were split at that point. One was main stairs, one was freezer. So the freezer player trying to push through in those dying seconds gets caught off by one of those last 2 players, which the Wolves, and leaves a 1v2 for Surf. There's only so much you can do when you have 10 seconds left.
5 seconds to insertion.
Yeah. Is what it is at a certain point for Honor. Now you just have to move on to this round and the next 5 to try and win these out. Dorms defense from Wichita Wolves. Really nothing all that crazy in terms of the strats, actually, or at least in terms of the op lineup. Pretty much everything you would expect. Nothing all too crazy. Honor clearly favored that Goyo a little bit more on their defenses. Wichita Wolves don't really care all that much about the Goyo. They got their shield from Callout, their shield from Jay. They're happy with that. They don't need to worry about too much. And with how damaging you brought up the drone economy, how damaging their intel game was with just a mute on the board, might as well just focus on that once again. You don't need to try anything too crazy if they're just going to get their drones killed and run straight first into them. It's also a similar setup from Wichita Wolves compared to what Honor did. They have the mute setting down inside of security to potentially counter any, big window play or play over on the side of small tower, white stairs, with Forrest playing in tandem as well. This is a strong position for both these defenders to play if they have, one, the adequate intel, and two, the ability to play off each other, which I'm sure Wichita Wolves do. Honor right now don't really care all that much. They're just focusing on this master bedroom, so Melted and Forrest don't have to worry about fighting anybody for the first minute.
I think the only thing different though is how many soft walls are upstairs. There's half of that trophy wall into attic is soft, half of that games wall into closet is soft. So these are different things. There's also a shield, I believe, facing towards that closet, and that's of course so that smoke of Callout can throw smokes into the attic. So it looks like they late reinforced it, so they can make sure they can try and waste time and waste pushing into closets. So some time has been wasted here. But this angle from Abonai allows him to try and contest trophy so that Honor can't just walk into trophy and use it as, a leverage, use that as a checkpoint to push into sites. Forrest, though, coming up, he might be the player to try and stop him, but Surf gets the kill on Jay. First pick once again for Honor. Can this be a round for Honor to put them slowly, get them back into the game? Forrest here is the big playmaker, roaming around. We'll see if he actually can make an impact, though.
And there is no trade by Wichita Wolves, at least for the moment. In fact, things keep getting worse. That angle Abonai was trying so hard to contest. He doesn't die from it, but it doesn't really help him all that much. In fact, it gives Honor an opening, now that the attic player's been dealt with, to move on in and contest the dorms player sitting inside. Melted will finally find the first kill of Wichita. Call will follow up on the second. Forrest the third. It's quickly collapsing for Honor. They had the control necessary, the pings as well, but Surf Domes too moving in the site. And now it's on Melted to bring things back. A C4 used, a C4 wasted as well, but time is also on the side of Honor. It has a lot of time for Melted to position, but also just really for Honor, able to cover this plant. Melted almost has to let the bomb go down at this point with how well Surf is covering it and just entrenched in this position. He's now moved from master bedroom inside of games. One behind big window. He has pings on that location, but it's the player inside of dorms that is currently unknown to Melted. The tracers will come out, spots him for a second, but it's still two players he has to contend with, one in front, one from behind. Honor, who can potentially come from behind if they win 4 more rounds. They got there first, just whether or not they can net together 4 more.
They have a long road ahead of them, a long road. But that round, it was a good start. Again, first pick in the way of Honor. They get that first pick. They push the way in the open polls, push the way in the site, but players from Wichita Wolves make it that much closer still. Those players inside Callout, Melted, Jay, still able to get kills and put themselves closer to winning the round. But again, we talked about Abonai, who was trying to hold attic. They had that soft wall to try and contest trophy, but that ends up being the point at which Surf can make his entry. He gets those first big picks to give that a 1v2. And last player alive has to come back. Melted has to try and come back onto site in a post plan. And that's so difficult to do when, of course, you have one player in dorms. They had intel and Surf in the corner of that dorms and that bug bed in the corner, but they had no intel on the player and kids behind the shield. So, of course, it ends up being a 1v2 crossfire. There's not much you can do there for Melted. So we go on to a 6-2. 4 more rounds for Honor.
4 more rounds, and for Wichita, we'll see a whole different sight from Wichita, and also some adjustments in their lineup. Bringing the L up for that shield, no smoke in sight, and if you struggled last round, or if you really were feeling that, if you wanted to help out Melted, have a couple more potential avenues for intel on the site, or just a couple more things that Honor feel obligated to destroy, flex into the Maestro. Very solid Maestro player. Maestro also common on this side in general, so nothing all too crazy. But for the side of for the side of Wichita, when they were attacking this site, this was the site that seemed for a moment strongest for Honor up until that point. Hopefully, if Honor had the same luck here, we might see them start to string a couple of those rounds together. But they have struggled with this intel before, and they sometimes have struggled with clearing out those players off the site, letting players like Forrest hang out in the wind for almost the entire round. Sure, there's a concentrated extension. You know where they're playing, but you have to actually clear them out, and that is where Honor struggles sometimes. Whether it's not able to get the opening pick or then getting it, but not being able to work off of it.
Well, so this is a round that Honor won on their defense, that one round. So this could be the end of the game here for Wichita, or for Honor, and Wichita will win it out. But we'll see what happens. So, of course, they can try and roam clear in. This is that same kind of defense from last round, holding those open holes and making it difficult for Honor to push in a trophy, push into master bedroom. Of course, you even have, Forrest the shotgun, playing that angle to see if they walk into the closet. So more than anything, unless they figure something out, they're just wasting time, wasting drones, wasting intel. So let's see what happens here, and so far what the plan is going to be. If Honor, are they going to push straight forward into what Wichita Wolves are expecting, what they're waiting for, or are they going to rotate and try and make a different play out of this? You see Ox and Pox over here, Axe and Pox together, trying to drone this far side, see who's on site, see what intel they can get, if they can try and poke holes in this defense from Wichita Wolves.
Well, it appears we'll be asking ourselves those questions you postulated for just a little bit longer, as Honor don't appear to really have any inclination to push into the site just yet. Everyone has been in their positions pretty much the entire round. You got your 2 players over in Attic. That's Oreo opening things up. Finally, we will get a kill. Ferda takes down Abernai. I was just about to go into this. This player's here, kind of giving you all a recap, but Ferda killed Abernai, so now we can actually start getting into the action. The upstairs hold is still not cleared, but for this site in particular, you don't necessarily need to clear it out. All right, well, that's unfortunate. That was Diffuser as well, by the way, so Melted can now watch that from below. As Oreo opens up that wall, Pox is alone inside of dining, so he has a nice angle. Surf will also get a kill onto Jay, so it's not all bad for Honor. But it's not great, especially considering that Diffuser is now dropped inside of Attic. And since you never cleared out that upstairs roam, guess who can watch that Diffuser with all of their attention? Forrest up top with Ella shotgun. Melted down below inside the site with that Alda. Orio's able to move on in to pick things up. He's able to pick it back up, in fact, and Forrest doesn't know. While Callout's taken out on the site, they're still Melted. Just sit there and cut through the attack. Diffuser dropped. Once again, Honor were able to recover it previously, but now it's deep in the heart of enemy territory. Melted flash, but not fully. Still not able to land the shots. Pox moving on in. Forrest drops on down. Do the position. No, they certainly do not. He peeks around, but can't land it in time. Honor still nets 2 in a row, but Jesus Christ.
If we're
gonna have 2 more of these rounds, they cannot be that shaky.
Oh my god, what a round. I don't even know where to begin on that round. That round was like, most of that round was sitting around and waiting, unfortunately. What Honor does best. But it came down to just different, just weird situations left and right. Losing the Diffuser in Attic, but then letting them bring it back, drop into sight and not clear Melted. Well, he drops through the hatch and they didn't clear Melted, who's playing the corner. There's players who are coming from both, you know, Dining and Big Tower, getting different picks here and there, fighting people on sight. They never tried to clear the roam, so the players upstairs had to return to site and try and help out the, you know, the anchors on those fights. But really, it was such a mess of a round, such a crazy round with things just going back. I can't even describe to you what happened even. But in the end, the big part was the fact that Honor won most of their fights, allowing them to have the advantage for the most part. So when it comes to the end of those rounds, it was Forrest in a 1v3. When they finally got the Diffuser and finally just were trying to push on the site. So really more than anything, just craziness. We're going to downstairs. We'll see which other Wolves will play this downstairs once more. And where last time, well, actually, this is the first time, isn't it? First time.
First time on... No, not first time on Basement.
No, second time.
They won it the first round.
They won the first time. Yeah, this is their first defense win because they had that roam and they wasted so much time.
Oh, yeah. Not only did they waste so much time, well, I mean, obviously, they did waste time, but Honor's intel game, as you pointed out, was not great. Kind of like last round, it wasn't as obvious as, you know, only having 2 drones on the board a minute and a half into the round, but was obvious in that Oreo and, I believe it was Surf, all the way on the attic wall, opening it up. Obviously, you know, we can assume Honor droned that out, just didn't see the frost map below the window. So still that intel game maybe hurting them a bit... A little bit less of an impact last round, but still ever-present, or at least an omnipresent theme so far in this game. And for Wichita Wolves, it's the ever-present roam they have on this basement site. Nothing changed all that much. You still have Callout up top, Melted and Jay down below, playing inside of security and freezer stairs respectively. Forrest playing on the big tower stairs. It's actually Abernai, who is just chilling inside of Attic right now. Again, Benny, there's no one actually on the site. They're sure there's avenues to rotate back, but Honor, they're just clearing it out. Full clearing once again.
Hey, at least this time they ruined out Callout, even though they called it last time. Callout could have been a devil last time and ended that round there with that flank. But either way, yeah, again, they're droning out where members are, and if they know players off site, they could just, you know, like you said before, they could just push on the site if they've identified fire players off site. But Surf gets the first pick on the Callout. He's taken full control of dorms at this point. That's a good pick to deny that kind of playmaking that could happen later in the round.
In fact, losing call out will scare Wichita Wolves so much they'll rotate back. It has been a minute 20 seconds. Haven't damaged the drone economy of Honor or as badly as they did prior. But once you've lost one body, you've wasted about a minute 20 seconds. Just cut your losses, rotate back at that point. No point pressing the issue when not only do they have vertical control, but impending horizontal control as well. Honor are now able to open up these hatches. Some of them reinforced, like that laundry and E-box one. Some of them soft, like the freezer one, which was an avenue to rotate back for Wichita. Now they can start setting up their plan. They have all this vert, but vert is not all that important on Oregon, at least compared to other maps. It's about this horizontal control, applying pressure from freezer. Big tower stairs, that is what wins rounds. That is what Honor have to get in the final minute.
Yeah, last time was kind of like lost a lot of those fights when it came to this push. Push comes to shove, they walk on the site, and they actually lost quite a few fights. That people like Melted and Jay who were on site. So, and more than anything too, they quick push into time-wise, a quick push in, and they kind of lost numbers because of the quick push in. Surf walks in, pre-fires the rotate. Nobody's there for the moments. Seems that they're just playing for. Wichita Wolves are playing for the end round. They still have a little bit of utility, but Forrest gets pre-fired around the corner. Great shots for Fur. Great shot to get two. That's two great kills, and that could be another round for Honor to keep them going and bring them that much closer. Jay will fight back. They'll take out Pox. Jay with two of his own. It's now down to a 2v3. Abadai and Jay are together. But Axe. Oh, one coming down. Oh, he gets killed from Abadai, and now it's a 2v2.
No.
15 seconds to go.
It was perfectly winnable in a 2v4 from Wichita Wolves, and now it's even more so. Jay sure he's on 25 HP, but Abadai's still a demon inside a pillar. Diffuser dropped. He'll try to flick. He will in time, but no, he still loses to Jay. A 2v5 clutch from Wichita Wolves. Incredible plays to bring them to the win. And wow, for Honor, a round that looked so strong for them on that laundry freezer push to end like that. We knew Wichita Wolves could clutch from last week, but this week to end it that way.
They were just on site. Jay just holding that closet and that rotates so well to deny the main stairs push.